Spartans!
Here with head coach Kelly Gallagher. Coach, big weekend for UT women's lacrosse, something you've been building on. Can you talk a little bit about the weekend?
Yeah, I think as a group, we're really excited to have our first game. Even more excited that game is going to be against, a team that's ranked in our preseason coaches poll at number 4, Rollins College. I think, it's going to be a great challenge for us. Rollins is a great women's lacrosse program, but I think our girls definitely are going to come out with something to prove, and they're excited to get out on the field and start their traditions and start their women's lacrosse program.
Now, a lot has gone on behind the scenes the last year and a half getting ready for this. Can you talk a little bit about that and the transition to women's lacrosse here at UT?
Yeah, when I got here, we definitely, one of the biggest things was just getting a team together. So we've spent a lot of time recruiting and putting together a good roster for this inaugural season.
Can you talk a little bit about the roster and players coming from all over the country?
Yeah, we have a great roster. Our roster is a little bit bigger than the average Division II women's lacrosse program. We have 34 players on our team, but our kids do come from all over the place, which is awesome. We have a handful of kids from down here in Florida. We've got a group of girls from all over New York, upstate, Long Island, and then just outside the city as well. We have a handful of kids up in Massachusetts. 2 players from Minnesota, a player from Ohio, a player from Virginia, a player from Maryland. So it's been really fun to see all the different styles of lacrosse from across the country come in and mesh and get put together to create our brand of lacrosse here at Tampa.
When you were assembling the team and bringing kids in, what was the reception to having lacrosse in Tampa and UT in general? What were some of the strengths that we had?
Yeah, it was a really easy transition, I think. There's a lot of kids who were drawn to the University of Tampa based on a lot of things. The reputation of our academic institution is stellar, especially up in the Northeast where we do have a lot of players from. And also location. Kids want to come to Florida, they want to come to Tampa, they want to go to school in the sun, and so those 2 things really helped draw a great first class here to the University of Tampa for our women's lacrosse program, and I think we'll only continue to draw really strong student athletes for us throughout our time here.
Now, looking forward to the opener, can you talk a little bit about the festivities and the game itself?
Yeah, I know that there's going to be a lot going on, so we're obviously trying to keep ourselves focused on the game. But I know that Rollins is coming here to play. I know there's some big community events going, some big community groups coming to the game. Our kids, I think all of our parents are coming to support our kids. On campus, the sports marketing team's done a great job of putting together a great event for us on Sunday. I know that there's a big to-do at halftime, I believe a Red Rover game or something, and before the game we'll have a small speech from President Vaughn and some other campus community members. So we're just really excited to have everyone out to the game on Sunday.
When you built the schedule, you have 5 opponents who are in the preseason rankings. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges of the schedule?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges of the schedule for us is that March is a really easy time to get home games. Everyone's on spring break and a lot of teams are traveling to Florida. So as far as getting games in March, it was really easy, but games in February and April were a little bit more difficult to come by. We're very fortunate to have a number of teams that were ranked in the preseason poll on our schedule, and I think that speaks for the reputation of the University of Tampa and their athletics and what other Division II women's lacrosse institutions, their idea of how we will be. In women's lacrosse at Division II, it really pays off to play a strong in-region schedule. In women's lacrosse, our regions are north and south, and the Pennsylvania-New York state line is the dividing line. So a team like IUP from up in Pennsylvania is a great team for us to play. They're ranked in the top 15 preseason, and they play a really strong schedule, so that can only help us in the long run, not only build a great foundation, but when the time is right, look to get into the NCAA tournament.
So for the fans who are watching this team, what can they expect to see from this group of girls?
A lot of energy and a lot of fun, fast-paced lacrosse. Our girls like to have fun. They like to try new things. I'm sure some nerves at some point, but we're definitely looking to play a more fast-paced game. So that's what we're going to go out there and try to do on Sunday.
And with a really young team and inexperienced team, have you noticed any leaders really stepping forward? Yeah,
we have a handful of kids that have kind of since the fall stepped up and shown their leadership. I think even more so that will begin to happen as we start to play some games against some other competition. Offhand, I can tell you that Mackenzie Perna, who's one of our midfielders, who's a freshman, she's really stepped up to kind of take on a leadership role. Riley Sindone has really stepped up for us defensively. Riley's from Long Island, and she's really stepped up to take a leadership role on that side of the field. So right now, those two have definitely stepped up to take leadership roles. But it'll be fun to see how the girls transition, how they continue to grow as we continue our season.